All right, welcome everyone. I call this meeting to order at 7:04. Are there any additions or are there any additions or subtractions to the agenda? Alicia,
Can we please strike ARC allocations?
Daniela,
Can you please strike ASRF and AAC travel mini grant allocations? Thank you.
Josh,
Hi, can we please strike capital contingency funding, please? Thank you.
Eliana,
Hi, could we please add discussing a collective sign-on to the opportunity for all undocumented student hiring letter, and also strike the Green Initiative Fund, like Phoebe said?
Divine,
Can you strike bad, please?
okay, awesome. Is that everyone?
I think Hansuka still needs to be promoted from the attendees. I don't know if she had any amendment.
Oh yeah, I see her raising her hand. Hazuka, do you have anything you want to add or subtract to the agenda? Oh, yeah, oh, I think she has to be promoted again. Can someone promote Hazuka again, please?
Sorry
Okay.
about that. I don't know. I wasn't able to get promoted, but no, I don't have anything to strike off.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, can we get a motion to approve the agenda then?
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Sarah motions, Theodore seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, by a vote of 13-0, the motion passes and the agenda for this week is approved. All right, I hope everyone was able to review last week's minutes. Is there anyone that needs to clarify, add, or subtract anything from last week's minutes? Eliana, is that a new hand?
Sorry about that. I forgot to lower my hand.
No problem. Anyone else? Okay. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda from, I'm sorry, the minutes from last week's meeting?
I move to approve the minutes from last week's meeting.
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay, Eliana motions, Alicia seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, by a vote of 12-0, the motion passes and last week's minutes are approved. Okay, now we'll be opening up public comment at 7:08. Public comment is the time for individuals from the Undergraduate Student Association to come to council and express any comments, questions, or concerns that they may have. So with that being said, if you are an attendee, and you want to be promoted to give public comment, please raise your hand to be promoted. See, we have one hand raised so far, Clara. Can we promote Clara, please? Clara, the floor is yours.
Hi. Hi guys. Hi, it's me again. I'm here to give our weekly update on what CalPERS has been up to. So a couple updates from last week. the cool highlight was that our plastic campaign went to the Westwood Farmers Market, and we got 25 small businesses to sign on to our campaign. It's really exciting. Very important voice to pass policy with LA City Council. Also, like, okay, sorry. Like, I'm doing so many things. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on a panel representing CalPERG, on a panel about plastic pollution. And it's also going to have a film screening. It's to celebrate SB 54, which is a plastic policy that passed over the summer by our state senator, Ben Allen. So that was very exciting. And also, biggest things that are happening right now is around our New Voters Project. We're preparing for the elections and doing a lot of get out the vote work and voter education. So we're doing class announcements this week. Maybe you'll see us in one of your classes. We're going to pass out flyers and tell people about important key dates, that they can vote early, where the vote centers are on campus and stuff like that. We're also going to be phone banking students a couple of days this week to make peer-to-peer connections and help students make a plan to vote, because that's just the easiest way for them to actually be able to execute voting this quarter. And also we have a really, really big event planned for next Monday, which is the day before Election Day, to try to get students to vote early so that they can skip the line. So yeah, that's a little bit what we're doing right now. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you have a great meeting.
Awesome, thank you. Is there anyone else that needs to be promoted for public comment? Going once, going twice. Okay, I'll be closing public comment at 7:11. All right, moving forward. Funding capital contingency, Josh.
Hey, everybody. I hope you've all been having a good week so far. This week, we had a total contingency programming request of $21,931.83, and we recommend an allocation for those requests of $15,459.27, and this constitutes 33 non-USAC entity-related events. Happy to elaborate on any specific request or go into any more detail, and I'll put that in the chat right now as well.
Thank you, Josh. All right, does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns? All right, can we get a motion?
Move to approve this week's capital contingency funding.
I second.
Ellie on a motion, Sarah seconds, all in favor, please raise your hand. By a vote of 13-0, the motion passes and capital contingency for this week is approved. All right, next up is.
Apologies, sorry, real quick. I think I misspoke at the beginning of the agenda. I was hoping to strike capital contingency, and this was contingency programming. Not sure if there needs to be a revote or do anything like that, but sorry, at the beginning I meant to say capital contingency to be struck in, so this was contingency programming. Sorry about that, not quite sure the protocol or anything. Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, we'll go through it again just for the record, okay?
Perfect, sounds great.
Yeah, so Josh, you can say it again, contingency programming, Josh.
Perfect, all right, so contingency programming request was $21,931.83 with a recommended allocation of $15,459.27 for 33 non-USAC entity-related events. And I will put this in the chat one more time, just for fullness of transparency. But yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. Does anyone have any questions about contingency programming? All right, Juan, I see you have a hand raised. Is that old? Okay. All right, can we get a motion to approve?
Move to approve contingency programming of $15,000 for $59.27 for 33 non-USAC events.
I'll second that.
Ellie on the motions, Keon seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Mm. What am I missing? Okay.
Phoebe, are you having a problem raising your hand? Cool.
Okay. By a vote of 13 to 0, the motion passes, and this week contingency program is approved. All right. The next items are consent items. So SFS allocations. Are there any objections? Okay, moving forward. SWC programming fund allocations. Are there any?
Okay. So for this week, the SWC programming fund allocated 600 and not 600, sorry, 67 and 95 cents, $67.95 to non-SWC groups and $0 to zero SWC groups. So I'll stick that in the chat too.
Yeah, and sorry to go back to SFS. We received $11,000 and $11,017.58 was requested for SFS. We approved $10,696.65 to 10 non-CSU student organizations.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, both of those are consent items. Any objections? Okay, moving forward. Next up is ASRF allocations.
I
Daniela.
believe that I actually asked for this to be struck. Sorry if I missed that, but there are no allocations this week.
No problem. Thank you. Okay, next up is the collective sign-on to opportunity for all undocumented students hiring rights letter. Eliana.
Hi, so this is something that's been a priority of USAC and UC Students Association, something we've had to deal with. So what's going on right now? Might be helpful if you let me share the screen.
Hey, actually, I'm sorry. This is kind of like, this letter it should be like under new business. Oops,
yeah, that's all right. That makes sense. So we can push it off to new biz. We'll do it under new business. Let's get through our appointment.
Yeah, we're knocking funding out of the way, and we'll knock these appointments out, then we'll get the after officer report.
Very smart.
No problem. Okay, going forward. All right, next up we have appointments. Okay, so can we promote Mina and Bethina? All right, nice. I see that we promoted both of them. Okay, so before we get into these appointments, just want to explain how the process works. So for this process, for appointments, we're going to call on an individual, one individual at a time. The individual will give their opening statement. I would then open the floor up for questions from council members regarding their position. We'll get about 2 to 3 questions. After that, we'll let the individual give their closing statement. We'll hear ARC's review from the ARC interview, and then we will we'll open the floor for discussion amongst council members, and we'll do a vote. So without further ado, first up we have Mina for the USAC Judicial Board Associate Justice appointment. The floor is yours, Mina.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Mina, and I'm a 4th-year public affairs major and a double minor in labor studies and education. I'm applying to be a justice for the Judicial Board because I believe that I would be a good fit for this position because of my commitment to public service. My commitment to public service has honestly been a long journey with lots of challenges, yet encouraging and victorious moments that have encouraged me to keep advocating and amplifying the voices of all people, but especially historically marginalized communities. As a Black woman at UCLA, I've had numerous experiences of being in certain spaces that made me feel unheard, excluded, and invalidated. So I realized that I needed to do my part to make a change, even if that meant that I wouldn't be taken as seriously as my other peers. I also believe I would be a good fit for this position because not only am I the oldest of 4 siblings, but I've had the opportunity to serve in different leadership roles that allowed me to listen, advocate, and amplify the voices of community. These roles, being family roles to professional roles, have also taught me the importance of being very open-minded, understanding the laws and policies that are put in place. And apart from my leadership roles, I've had the opportunity to do volunteer experience. Last summer, I actually had the opportunity to be a judicial extern for the United States Central District Court of California, and I learned a lot when it comes to taking approaches for decision-making in regards to legal matters. And overall, I believe that I have the decision-making, communication, and professional skills that I've developed not only throughout my academic journey at UCLA, but even at home to make hands-on contribution to this role.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that open statement, Mina. All right, now we'll be opening the floor for questions from council members. First up, we have Sarah.
Hi, Mina. Thank you so much for coming to talk to council today. I have 2 questions for you. My first one is, thank you for telling us like a little bit about your experiences. I was just wondering if you could like tell us what you specifically learned from those experiences and how you hope to apply them as a member of the judicial board.
Yeah, Sarah, thank you for that question. I would speak on both of my positions as from family to I would say professional. As the oldest, I have learned in the very hard way that sometimes you have to make decisions and you have to make it very quick. But not only do you have to make those decisions very quick, you have to be open-minded. You have to hear all sides of the story. And you also have to understand that you're not trying to be the mean sibling or the boring sibling, but you're making certain decisions to protect others, especially your siblings. And also sometimes I have to play the role of a parent as well, which means sometimes my siblings or the other people that I'm taking care of will not agree with me. But again, I had to make decisive decisions and communicate those decisions with people. In regards to my leadership roles, something that I learned this past summer with one of the judges that I had the opportunity to work with is compassion, which is something that I've always had, but seeing a judge have compassion and really emphasize that multiple times, and also emphasize it's very important to not let the compassion take over though when it comes to making decisions quickly and being firm about those decisions. I hope that answers your question. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much.
Eliana.
Thank you. Peace. Thank you so much for coming out here, Mina. Well done. So my question is, what's one thing about judicial board you would change or expand, and one thing you would try and keep the same?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good question. I would say one thing I would want to change is making it more accessible to students. Accessible in the sense, besides just election season, I know that it appears that judicial board gets a lot of cases during election season, but having workshops or office hours for undergraduate students to just come and get to meet the board or just know the work that they do, besides just being, again, I'm not saying there is no work being done, but just being more active in the spring. So that's something ideally I would want to do. Something I would want to keep, I have seen the Instagram social media to be more specific. And I do see how they do post lots of updates in regards to who is even a chief justice and stuff of that sort, to frequently ask questions, to ways to get involved, such as being a law clerk, because that is something that I would want to keep the same, just constantly keeping the community posted.
Great answer. Thank you.
All right. We got one more question available. Does anyone want to ask? If not, Mina, I guess I'll ask you a question. Can you just talk a little bit about, what makes you the best person for this position?
I would say overall 3 traits. One, my open-mindedness. I feel like I've been in lots of leadership positions where I had to work with other leaders, and it was always hearing one side of the story, and that was it. I have learned lots of experience. It's very important to hear both sides of the story, even if that means there are going to be opinions or things that you do not agree with. It's very important to just actively listen to people and not interrupt them while they're speaking, because that's just not going to get anything done. I would also say something that has been reiterated to me throughout the summer is showing compassion towards people, because you never know what someone is going through. And again, just making sure that you keep that in mind. And lastly, I would say my communication skills. Even though I would say I am very compassionate, I do communicate very clearly. I make my yeses yes and my no's no. I make it very clear. And also, I always make space for people to ask questions and feedback if they do have any pressing concerns, because at the end of the day, I'm still learning, I'm still growing. Yeah.
Thank you. That was perfect. Okay. I guess last question, Alicia.
Oh, sorry for raising my hand late. Thank you for coming, and thank you for running for this. I guess my question, you kind of talked about it a little, but like, what would you like to accomplish in your term as a member?
Thank you for the question. I would say, besides making it more accessible to the student body, if I do have the power to help appoint law clerks and stuff, really, I would say, I'm gonna be very careful with my words. Working with people from communities that are often not really often are neglected at UCLA, if that makes sense. Yeah, that is one of my biggest goals.
Awesome. Okay. And with that, that's the last question. Mina, you're free to give your closing statement.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so I wanted to say thank you to all the council members and even student body for your guys' time, patience, and this opportunity to present to you guys pieces of who I am, but not only who I am, but who I'm striving to be and what I plan to achieve with the help and power of community. I do believe that I could bring a strong sense of open-mindedness, authenticity, and most importantly, compassion and more. That's all I actually have for my concluding statement, and I hope you all have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Mina. Thank you. Okay, now we'll hear ARC's recommendation.
ARC approved Mina with a 3-0 vote.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. And now we'll open up the floor for discussion amongst council members. Does anyone have any questions, concerns, comments that they would like to bring up at this time regarding the appointment? I guess I'll kick it off. I think, Mina is very highly qualified for this position. As soon as she found out that it was available, she reached out to me. She already had did her homework and, was just ready to take on the responsibility. So, thank you for that. You made my job easier, and just thank you for being a great candidate for this position. Sarah?
I wanted to sort of just echo what Carl said. I really liked, what you said about just like leading with compassion, because personally as a council member, that is how I try to serve UCLA, and I'm sure many other of the council members as well. So I know if we do vote to approve you, I'm glad we have someone.
Did Sarah freeze up, or is that me?
Oh my God, did you guys not hear that?
You froze up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Wait, should I just start at the beginning?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I was gonna say I really liked, what you said about compassion. And as I don't know how much you heard, so if I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but I was gonna say as a USAC council member, that's how I try to lead my office, and I'm sure a lot of other council members do the same. So if we do vote you in, I'm very happy that we have a judicial board member as like such as yourself.
Eliana?
Yeah, I just want a second, third, I guess, what Carl and Sarah are saying. Been very impressed. Good answers, very smart, and yeah, really good character. And I think Nina will be a very good judge.
Awesome. Okay. Well, if no one has any other questions, concerns, or comments, can we get a motion?
I move to approve Mina as a member of the judicial board.
Can we get a second?
I second.
Sarah motions, Danielle seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. By a vote of 13-0, the motion passes, and Mina is now a USAC Judicial Board Associate Justice. Congratulations.
Thank you all so much. I greatly appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Carl.
Yeah, no problem. I'll send you over the paperwork so we can get you administratively hired. Okay. I think you guys are going to have your first meeting.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, our next appointment. We have, is it Bethana or Bethina?
It's Bethina, but I go by my first name, Bahare.
Bahare? Okay, got you. Oh, nice. Okay. So yeah, next up we have Bahare for USAC Judicial Board Associate Justice. So without further ado, you have the floor for your opening statement.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. First, congratulations, Mina. I work with her on the BPLA board, and I know she's going to make an awesome fit for this position. A little bit about myself. I'm Bahari Javakiri. I'm a fourth year here at UCLA. I'm a political science major with a global studies minor. And a reason why I'm so passionate about going for this position is I am in love with the law. It's my passion ever since I was in the second grade, and I declared that I wanted to be a judge. That's what I've done to put myself in that position. And another important thing to me is community. And I feel like this position allows me to be able to have both those things and actively show what I want from my community and be a part of my community and bettering my community while also practicing what I love. So a little bit more about me is that I have a couple of board positions here at UCLA's orgs. I've done some volunteer positions as well that have helped build my character and make me who I am and help me develop into what I think would make a great judicial board justice. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bahare. Now we will open the floor up for questions from council members. So council members, if you have a question, please raise your hand. Eliana.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out here. Nice opening statement. So my question is, what's something you would change or expand about the judicial board, and what's something you would keep the same?
Definitely. Mina touched on something that I also want to bring up is really just making sure that people are aware of what we're doing and understand, especially here in the undergraduate community. I feel like there's a lot going on in different departments and people don't actively always get the information that they need. And I want to make sure that communities that are underrepresented not like have access to this information, because it's an amazing opportunity to set people up for the right positions. So really being active and like making sure that people know that we're here for them and understanding more about it. That's the main thing I would think I would change, is really just being able to make sure that I'm using my position to hear what people have to say and speak towards that. And then one thing I would keep the same is I think I would keep the same, maybe like a lot of the things that are being passed, I think are really amazing, and they speak to the UCLA community and represent really what people here want.
Thank you. Great answer.
Thank you.
Sarah.
Hiya. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us. I also really like the law, so that made me happy when you said that. But I was wondering, like, what traits do you think that like a justice in general should just embody, and how do you plan to reflect those traits if appointed?
So thank you for the question. One, something we talked about was empathy. Obviously, that's really important. I think you have to go through life being empathetic because you never know what someone's going through. But another thing is being able to hold your ground, I think. So a good balance of both is something that I think really makes me a good person for this position. So being able to obviously have empathy towards people and hear what they have to say, but also being able to stand your ground and know right from wrong and actively speak up. I think that's part of being a justice, is a checks and balance system. So being able to maintain that.
Awesome. Juan, last question.
Thank you so much for joining us and for such amazing answers. I wanted to kind of give you the platform to talk a little bit more about your experiences in the law field or in a similar leadership kind of like organization that deals with understanding rules and policies and making decisions that might be difficult to make.
Thank you for the opportunity. So some volunteer positions that I felt like have built me up is I did a gap year in Iran, working hands-on with women and understanding also the law side of things there, and also how it affects them pertaining to like divorce and family matters there, which is really, really an eye-opening experience for me. That was one thing. Another thing I've done is I clerked for a judge from the Bay Area. So I got a chance to work with Judge Cohen, which was really eye-opening as well to understand the logistics behind law and why things are the way they are. Another thing I've done, when I was in high school, I did youth in government. So understanding more side of logistics, that too. Yeah, I would say those things, as well as just in my life, being able to know when to step up and take leadership positions, to step up for my friends, people who matter, things like that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. You're now free to give your closing statement.
Okay. Thank you. So I just want to first thank everybody here for this opportunity. It was really amazing just to be able to see that we have this here at this school and giving other people opportunities and making ways so that hopefully we can lead more pathways. I'm so sorry. Lead more, like have this position open so that we're able to pass this knowledge on and create even more pathways for other students. So just thank you to everyone for hearing me out and giving me an opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, now we will hear ARC's recommendation.
ARC by 3-0 vote. I'm so sorry.
You said 3-0, Megan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, awesome. And now we will open the floor for questions, concerns, or comments to discuss amongst council regarding this appointment. Does anyone have anything they would like to say? I guess I could, okay, there we go. Hanzika?
I feel like she has really, really good experience, especially after having worked in person with a judge. And I think to be on a judicial board and have that experience, nothing beats that. So I would definitely really endorse her and ask everyone to vote in favor of her. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Hanzika. I just wanted to add, yeah, Bahare was, I mean, when she reached out about this position, she knew what she was talking about, taught me stuff that I didn't even know about the position. So definitely highly qualified. And I think she'll do a great job as an associate justice. And I also see that Devon put in here, her passion is so evident and she loves that. So that's great. Okay, if we don't have any other questions, comments, or concerns, can we get a motion?
I move to approve Bahara as an associate justice.
I second.
Sarah motions, Eliana seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, and by a vote of 13 to 0, the motion passes, and Bahara is now a Judicial Board Associate Justice. Congratulations. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll be sending you paperwork over soon to officially get you on. And with that, we have finalized the Judicial Board for this year. So they'll have their first meeting this week. So congratulations. Okay, moving forward. Next up, we have an appointment for the CS Mini Fund. Has a Sharon been approved? I'm sorry, promoted? Can we promote Sharon? Okay. Nice. I see that we promoted Sharon. Okay, Sharon, without further ado, you're free to give your opening statement.
Hi, my name is Sharon. I'm a third-year psychobio major, and I am applying to be the CS Mini Fund Chair. And I'm going to go into why I think I am fit for this position and why I want to apply. And so my current position under USAC, under CSC, is the finance director. And a lot of the responsibilities of the CS Mini Fund Chair and finance director do overlap. So logistic-wise, I do think that my responsibilities and the skills that I have now will overlap seamlessly. And I do think that I am confident in being able to fulfill my role as a CS Mini Fund Chair. And the reason why I wanted to apply for this position is because as of now, I do enjoy my position as a finance director, and I do enjoy being part of the inner workings of making an event, a project, be it possible for all the orgs that want to do something great for the school. But right now I do handle the transportation fund, and it's great, and a lot of orgs surround themselves with transportation, and that's how they make things possible. But it is a very limited part, and the thing about CS Mini Fund is that it's a broader fund that can be accessible to other orgs with more purposes that they want to achieve. And they do allocate more money, and because of that, I do want to be a part of making contributions to a community, especially to underserved population. And I want to be a part and hopefully make this committee bigger in the future and make it even more of a success. And hopefully we can grow the allocation amount and even broaden our connections outside of UCLA and be able to make amazing things happen to communities that don't have enough resources or opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sharon. All right, now we'll open the floor for questions. First up, we have Anna.
Hi, Sharon. Thank you for being here today. I just wanted to ask you to speak a little bit about your experience in finance, not only within like CSC, but outside too, and like what have you been doing with that, and some initiatives that you've taken while in these spaces.
Yeah, can I have a moment to think about that, please?
Yeah, for sure.
Just to reiterate, you said my experience now and before CSC.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, so you're saying to explain my responsibilities now and then also experience from before, correct?
Sorry, I just meant your experiences either like within finance, like now in CSC, and then also if you are like a finance chair in other spaces too.
Oh yeah, so my current responsibilities right now, a lot of it is Excel heavy, and so I do work with the committee to decide the amount, and we do go off of a score sheet to decide how much we can allocate to a certain org. And so what we do is that we have them fill out a Google form, and based off of that, we'll calculate the amount that they request, and we'll put that onto an Excel sheet. And I've become very Excel, Google Sheet friendly, and it's actually quite enjoyable. I like things being organized, and I think a lot of that also had to do with personal experience. I've budgeted all my life, especially coming from financial situations in my personal life. I did have to budget a lot, and taking into account of having a job and knowing that this is how much I have to pay, because there are a lot of expenses that I've acquired over the past couple years. And so what I had to do was I split a percentage of how much I would give to offerings for church, how much I would put into savings, and I will also have a category for how much that I could spend monthly. And so I think a lot of those skills went into this position too, and to see these skills do apply into giving a certain amount of money to these orgs, and seeing, and by their application, deciding how are they going to spend these funds based on the information that they're given, and this will be all based on a score sheet. But also another part of finance that I'm in is in H&F. So this is under SWC. So I am the treasurer for H&F, and this also does a lot of the same things as finance directors, but in a way that I apply for the funds, and then I calculate and budget from all the events and plans that we want to do in the quarter. So there's a lot of overlapping.
Thank you. Juan.
Hi, Sharon. Thank you much for coming and speaking with us today. I wanted to ask you about your leadership experience in specifically managing like a committee. So as you know, the chairperson role is going to be in charge of managing the CS committee members, which are for other committee members, two CSE affiliated and two CPO affiliated. So if you were to be appointed to this role, what skills do you think you would bring to that table in terms of managing this team to make sure that you're being efficient and as impactful as possible?
So yes, I think with leadership, definitely my idea of leadership is not putting myself on a pedestal, but it's definitely more of a group work, but more so giving direction to a committee. And I think communication is definitely key. It seems simple, but especially dealing with a huge committee, it's really important. And I could use practical means like Slack or GroupMe or emailing, but it's definitely important that I have clear and transparent communication with my committee. And so I would, for example, I would have a meeting every week and discuss, this is how much we are going to allocate for this org, or we should go over X number of applications today because we don't want all these applications rolling over and stacking up on each other. And I would prioritize with making their responses, my committee members' responses, mandatory. And so in order to do that too, I would put more incentives. And so when in leadership, it's not always just a very stern and serious. I want to be able to implement more fun and inviting environment for my committee members so that they are being more engaged and they'll be able to cooperate with me more. And so it can be such as planning more socials or making fun icebreakers during our first meetings and getting into the more logistical side of the meetings too. And so incorporating with being welcoming and approachable, but also keeping the boundary of having a business and professional side of yourself, I think is very important. And along with having that communication is also going to be key in making sure that I have all of my members in line and they know what they're supposed to be doing. And so I would prioritize a lot more of that.
All right, Eliana.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out, Sharon. So my question is, what kind of metrics do you think are best for evaluating who should get funding and how much funding they should get?
Okay, sorry, can you repeat the first part again?
Sorry, my question. Thanks for coming out here, Sharon.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. Good answers. My question is, so what kind of metrics do you think are best when you're going to evaluate, like who gets money, how much money?
Math work?
Metrics.
Sorry. Oh, metrics. In dealing with who I decide gets how much money, correct?
That's right.
Yes. So there is a pretty strict rubric that goes into it, and so as much as there is an objective and a subjective side to it too. And so when I have the applications fill out a Google form, they do have to talk about their purpose and why they want to serve this underserved population. How are they underserved? But they're going to also have to explain the logistics and how they're going to do it. And so they're going to have to give information, how they're going to execute, how they're going to propose or make this plan or this event work. And they're going to have to include how are they going to train the people who are going to be participating in the event or project, and what are they going to be doing exactly, and how are they going to be serving this underserved population. And along with the logistics, it's also important that we also hear their mission statement, and we see that that they are explaining how are they underserved and why they think it's important and how it's going to contribute to bettering society. And so that's what we're going to take into account. But a lot of it is also subjective too. And so that's what we're going to be, I will be discussing with my committee members, and this is when we're going to be discussing in our meetings.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Well, that's a great answer.
Okay. Sharon, you're free to give your oh, sorry, Giovanna.
It was a mistake. My bad, guys.
No problem. All right. Sharon, you're free to give your closing statement.
Okay, I do want to say thank you for giving your time out of your meeting today. I know you have a lot to go through, but I really thank you for your time and every one of you guys for hearing me out. But to close this off, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I do thoroughly enjoy this position, and I really do want to be a part of bettering society and contributing to a community, especially that is underserved. And I am excited for this position because it's going to make an impact on a broader scale. And I'm excited to see what all of these orgs, the funds that we will provide, what they can do, and what impact they're going to do, especially on the school and outside of UCLA. And so it's going to be really exciting. And I'm excited to see how big this committee can grow and the impact that it can make. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Now we will hear ARC's recommendation.
ARC approved Sharon with the 3-0 vote.
Okay, awesome. I heard a 3-0 vote. And now we will open the floor up for a discussion regarding the appointment to council members. So if anyone has any questions, concerns, or comments, please raise your hand. And I see Anna.
I just want to say that Sharon, you did an incredible job on the interview, and that just like I know that you've been in a lot of financial spaces, not only just in CSC but also within SWC, and you've both been someone who allocates funding to other individuals, and at the same time you've been someone who applies to funding too, so you know what the process is like inside and out. And just want to say that I think that you're highly qualified for this. and you have my full support.
Juan.
Yeah, I just wanted to really highlight how Sharon is an amazing leader and an amazing student organizer and agent of change here on campus. Through my interaction and working with her in CSC, she has really stepped up and shown so much initiative and drive. So I'm so excited for us to potentially appoint her tonight for CS committee chairperson.
Awesome. All right. Does anyone have anything else that they want to say? Okay, if not, can we get a motion?
I move to approve Sharon Kim for the CS Mini chairperson appointment.
I second.
Okay, Juan motions, Alicia seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, and by a vote of 13-0, the motion passes, and Sharon is now on the CS mini fund. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem. All right, last but not least, we have the appointment for the Finance Committee Associate. Have we promoted? Okay, yeah, there we go. And I don't want to butcher this, but I think it's pronounced Varench.
Varench, yeah, you got it.
Let's go. Okay, let's go. Hey, nice to see you. Are you? I mean, you're free to give your opening statement.
Hey, my name is Varench. I'm a sophomore, busy econ student here at UCLA, and a bit about my background. I've worked in different aspects of finance, venture capital firms, working in investment banks and hedge funds, through which I've gotten experience in financial analysis, budget analysis specifically, and paying really close attention to details on financial statements. And I think that I can bring those aspects, those things that I've learned to the financial analysis and financial analysis to the committee. And I'm hopeful to be a part of the finance committee as an associate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, now we'll open the floor for questions from council members. First up, we got Sarah.
Hi, thank you so much for coming to talk with us. I have two questions. One, all the experiences that you listed sounded great. Can you just go a little bit more into detail on like how those past roles will help you with this role? And second of all, one big thing that I'm financial sports commissioner. Nice to meet you. One big thing that my office is trying to work on and put on the forefront is just transparency for the finances. So do you have any plans to increase transparency for finances for the student body?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let me just answer your second question first. On the aspect of transparency, I think that's a really good point to bring up and really important for the finance committee. And one thing I think a big part of improving transparency that I'd be a part of is just improving communication with between both the finance committee and the clubs, people, events that are trying to approve for funding. It can potentially be a complex process. So I think being able to allow both sides to understand each other more on that, and also potentially putting forth feedback forms on how the process is, so that way the finance committee can better understand how people are people's ability to apply for funding. And now to talk about how my experiences might have prepared me for this role. I've worked at venture capital firms, analyzing various startups, digging deep into budget allocations, what they're using the money they get for, what they use the money they're getting from other venture capital firms, what they're putting that towards. So looking at money, the flow of money on that account. Also, working at hedge funds, I've led a group of people in creating a trading algorithm. So dealing with large amounts of money, I have experience in that, and that's experience that I think I can bring towards this role, and ensure that communities, clubs, events are able to get the funding they need.
Thank you so much. I really like your answers.
Yeah, thank you. All right, do we have any more questions, council members? If not, okay, there we go. Eliana?
Thank you so much. And yeah, I love your skills. Very impressive. So my question is, what's something you would change about FICOM and what's something you would keep the same?
Yeah, one thing I talked about keeping the change that I would potentially change is just improving transparency, improving communication, allowing the finance committee to get a better understanding of how the application process is for the other side, and understanding what goes into that, making the guidelines potentially clearer, and instituting more feedback that we can get potentially from the other side. I think that's a very important aspect that we can that the finance committee can potentially improve on. And one thing that I would keep the same is the trust in the finance committee. I think the past members of the committee have done a great job of upholding its confidence, the faith, integrity people have in the committee, and just making sure I do my best, do as good of a job as possible, try to keep that confidence people have in it.
Great answer. Thank you.
All right, do we have any more questions? All right, if not, Varent, you are free to give your closing statement.
Yeah, thanks to the USAC, to the finance committee, for the process. I hope to be able to implement the changes in the finance committee, make it better, make sure that funds are able to be properly and fairly dispersed to the events, clubs, communities that need it. And yeah, I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, can we hear, well, now we'll hear the recommendation from ARC.
ARC approved, wait, ARC voted 3-0 forwards.
Thank you, Megan. I heard a 3-0. Nice. And now we'll open the floor up for a discussion about this appointment amongst council members. So if anyone has any questions, concerns, or comments that they'd like to bring up, now is the time. Please raise your hand. Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, just from hearing him speak, like he knows his stuff. So I think he do a pretty good job in this position. Does anyone else have anything they want to say? Going once.
I agree, definitely.
Going twice.
Very smart, very knowledgeable about finances. So sounds like a great guy.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. If we don't have anything else to discuss, can we get a motion?
I move to approve Virench for the finance committee.
I second.
Sarah motions, Eliana seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, and by a vote of 13-0, the motion passes, and Virench is now a finance committee associate. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you so much. All right, we made it through appointments. Nice. All right, now we'll go into officer reports. All right, so starting out for this week for me, well, I mean, a little bit of this week, also with last week, I met with Gary Clark. We talked about campus tour, languages. I had a couple students come up to me and just asked me to look into the possibility of having on-campus tours, be more accessible in regards to languages. So I spoke to them in regards to ensuring that we started with Spanish, right? So they agreed to make it so that a Spanish oriented campus tour in regards to the language can be requested like a month prior to a group coming. right? Obviously they do a lot of campus tours throughout the week. So I told them to start working to start building towards a plan where we incorporate more Spanish speaking campus tours, because obviously UCLA is moving towards being a Hispanic serving institution. So we need to go ahead and get ahead of that. So they agreed to do that. And they also agreed to consolidate hiring individuals who can speak Spanish so that they have staff that can, help out with this. As I stated last week, I had my first meeting with first in-person meeting with the rest of the UC presidents. All of them weren't able to make the in-person meeting, but most of them were. And it was pretty awesome to meet them. It's a lot of smart individuals. And they're just as excited and as driven as we are. So, they loved hearing about some of the things we were doing at UCLA. We also got to hear a lot of the great things that they're doing, at UC Berkeley, at UCSD, at UC Irvine. So that was amazing. Nice to meet those individuals. In the next couple of days, the next couple of days, I'll be releasing a survey to get student feedback about what are some of the main issues that I should discuss with Chancellor Block. I have a meeting with him on the 11th. So we'll be hearing from the UCLA student body in general. So when you see that, I'm going to make a graphic and, make a link. Please, share and post that so that I know some of the top issues facing UCLA students. I kind of have an idea of some, but I just want to make sure that I have some tangible testimonials and proof when I go and speak with them. This week, we also co-sponsored resolution with EDP. I'll let Devon kind of, do her thing on that when it comes time. And I'm going to be drafting a resolution pretty soon to bring back meal plans for all campus students. I think it's time that we start to, move back to actually doing things that are associated with a pre-pandemic environment. UCLA, we're claiming to be back in a pre-pandemic environment, but there are a lot of services on campus that are still copping out and copping pleas, saying, well, it's because of COVID, we're not doing this. But hey, if the administration is taking a stance and saying that we're going back to a pre-pandemic environment, they need to make sure they're updating their services to also do so in the same manner. So yeah, we'll be working on that to bring back meal plans for off-campus students. And that is all I have. And I see the IVP has a written report this week. Theodore, do you have a question for me?
Yeah, well, I just want to commend you for your initiative in regards to the expansion of Spanish tours. I think a month in advance is pretty long for one to seek a Spanish tour. I think 2 weeks is probably more reasonable. And also, there are tons of people on this campus who speak Spanish, or at least know sufficient amount of Spanish that they can find a good group of people to fill in for Spanish tours. So I definitely commend what you're doing, and I'm pretty excited for that to be an option, especially for transfer students or like a lot of my first gen, sometimes first gen Americans, but for sure many of the time first gen students. It will definitely make a difference in regards to getting families engaged. Like we just had parent weekend, and how much of that was in Spanish? Majority of people in the States speak English. Of course, there's going to be that predominant language, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt to have an expansion. But yeah, I like it.
Awesome, thank you, Theodore. I'll add some to that too once Alicia and Daniela goes. Alicia.
Oh yeah. I just, when you talk about the expansion of services, and have those conversations with administrators when you're doing your policy work, I just ask that you consider not reducing the severity of the pandemic. It's definitely not back to quote unquote normal, and it'll never be, just because maybe you're not in danger, or the people around you aren't in danger, or a lot of people aren't at UCLA. But it's just important to keep in mind that it's still very much an ongoing threat to people and an ongoing struggle with public health. So just when that's something to consider when you have that conversation to expand services.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, when I said that, I was referring to what the stance the administration has taken, like the UCLA official, like professional administration. And what I'm saying is like, if they're taking the stance, right? They've already taken the stance that we're returning to a pre-pandemic environment, right? And so if they're taking that stance, what I'm saying is they also have to ensure that they are, providing services for students in regards to the pre-pandemic environment. So that's what I was saying, right? So like, for instance, right? Like a very simple example of this is obviously like UCLA will tell you right now in regards to, SAC, right? The Student Activity Center, right? They are operating as if we're back in a pre-pandemic environment. Except for, well, they'll say that, right? But there's like no towels, right? Like in the locker room, right? And they'll say that the reason why that is because of, COVID, or they'll blame something else. And so I just had them like looking at some of the ways that they used to operate before the pandemic, right? So things that aren't safe. And yeah, it's not my stance that we're back to a pre-pandemic environment. It's just like that's the official stance of the school. So, but I got what you're saying. I understand what you're saying though. Daniela.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to raise another important point of consideration. So living on the Hill last year and being an off-campus student this year, both years there have been a lot of staffing issues on the Hill, not enough dining workers to be able to meet the demand that already exists without having to consider like feeding students who are off campus in addition to those who are on the Hill. And that has led to things such as like dining workers striking outside of the dining halls during their working hours. And so I feel like that's something that I would just encourage you to really acknowledge as you're approaching this, because that could lead to further implications onto people who are already are working there, in addition to other like pandemic concerns like crowding dining halls even more than they already are, or making lines even longer and making it harder for students to get food. I think that there's just a lot of unintended consequences that, like, though I agree, it would make my life so much easier if I could like just go on the Hill and get my food and not have to worry about cooking. But at the same time, there are like real life implications for others, because there are also other actors involved when we make these decisions. That I think are, in some situations, even more important to consider and weigh.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. No, you're right. Yeah, obviously they're understaffed right now in the dining halls, and as someone who was on council last year, and I've had several meetings, with individuals about this. One of the main points concerns that they've been bringing up is they're saying that they're having a hard time hiring people. Right? They're saying that like, oh, well, the workers are overstaffed because we're just having a hard time hiring people. So that's what they're standing on. And I feel like, if that's the case, then, obviously there needs to be more efforts in regards to their hiring department, right? A staffing issue shouldn't be the reason why we have overcrowded lines at the dining hall. And so I've been working with them since last year on this. And it's just something that UCLA, the administration, needs to kind of work on and stop dragging their foot. There's a lot of people that, want to work and can work. And so that's something that I've been working with. I've been working with them on this since last year. So you're right about that. Definitely don't want to, bring any extra hardship on the workers that currently work at the dining hall. Phoebe?
Yeah, wait, sorry. Who are you talking to again? First question.
That was Daniela. The one
No, like as in like the person that you're meeting with.
Oh, so this, let me see. I can show you. Okay, so let me.
In the meantime, as you're looking through that, I can give my thoughts.
Yeah, you
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. Basically, from what I heard from like the friend that I have that's like the publicity director for Facilities Commission, he has been working for dining, I think last year and this year, and has told me like, obviously these are all things that we're all pretty familiar with, the conditions at dining being pretty poor.
But from what I hear, by constricting the operating hours, which is also due to the staffing shortage, it makes the shifts for each dining employee a lot harder because it's a lot more congested in the dining hall. So like, obviously, like if we were to have an initiative where we allow off-campus students or like other people to be swiped in, we would have to ask them to expand operating hours, but then they'd have to expand staffing. And I know somebody like the two directors in the facilities commission are working with the sustainability manager on the Hill to help dining conduct a survey to see like what the hiring issues are. I feel like it's pretty obvious that the shifts are just like really long and hard. A lot of like full-time staff have to like take time off because the shifts are that stressful, and it just like becomes like a whole like cycle of losing more and more people. So I don't know what data collection they've done so far, but they might be helpful to bring to whatever future meetings you have specifically on this. And yeah, I think just like all around, like dining conditions are just really, really bad. And I know that like Pete Angeles, like the AV, or is he an ABC? Yeah, of housing and hospitality, like, or was it Al, the head of dining? Either one of them were like, oh, like we really want to prioritize like in-person dining and bringing everyone back. But it doesn't seem like that's coupled with language about how they support like the dining staff.
Got you. And you know what? You said Pete Angeles, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Did you speak with him as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've only spoken to him a couple of times. I've spoken to Al like more than that. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me and my staff have spoken to Pete Angeles, and as I said before, yeah, a lot of the rhetoric that we receive hasn't been about. It seems like most of the hardships that have been associated with the dining hall have always been it has always been about like, hey, we are having a hard time hiring people. That's what I've heard for the most part. It doesn't seem like there's like an actual problem. It doesn't seem like they have like a full capacity of hiring individuals within a dining hall, and then there's still just too many students. It just seems like their capacity of workers isn't where it should be. And yeah, you're right. We have to ensure that we're addressing the concerns of the workers that work there. And like I said, I think the initiative of getting off campus these meal plans back is going to put the administration in a position where they're going to have to hire more individuals to support this plan, and also just support the students in general, right? And those students deserve that support. So thank you for the question though. And Eliana.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Can I just respond to that real quick? Sorry, I'll make it quick, you guys. But like, I feel like they just tend to use that hiring thing as an excuse. They've been using that for an excuse the past 2 years, and I get that COVID is really difficult, but like, that's what they use as the excuse to not like put any sustainability projects on the Hill. We've worked with dining like several times, like trying to put reusable diningware on the Hill. They always say this hiring thing, and they never have a solution. And one of the things that they said in one of the recent meetings, maybe not that recent, it's been a while since I've attended a meeting with them, but they say that part of it is because there's a huge shortage on student laborers in UCLA dining. And I think that's because students know not to work for dining now because it's just an awful, not great place to work at. But I feel like it's like kind of a problem that like their main efforts, from what I can tell, I'm sure that there's other efforts too, but it is 2 students that work under my office, one of which is not like someone really directly affiliated with dining, that are like conducting the student survey on why students are interested for dining. So I feel like these are important points to bring up when you talk to them. Like they'll keep bringing this hiring issue like again over and over. And if Pete like doesn't seem to like move on it, I feel like will be time to like bring it to Michael back. So
awesome, thank you. Eliana.
Just want to say thank you so much, Carl. Great work. And I second the stuff other people have said about needing better conditions for people who are working in dining and in general. Yeah, places want to hire people. They need to be better employers. I'm in a meeting. Love you. Anyhow, but also want to add in terms of what you were saying, I think it was a good point in terms of like they're like, oh, pre-pandemic environment, but without the services of that. And I feel like what I see going on is they're kind of taking away the protections of like that's what they would have to give if they acknowledge there still was a pandemic, like Alicia pointed out. Like they I don't think ventilation has really been upgraded. There's not the hybrid access. I don't think they're making any provision for people having long COVID, which is there's definitely people on campus who have it. And I don't think anyone's accommodating, but at the same time, they also don't have the services of the pre-pandemic environment. So I feel like issue isn't so much that they're like not embracing a pre-pandemic environment. It's just they seem to be kind of trying to scale back all the services, both the ones we need because we're in a pandemic and the ones that we should be able to get as stuff has somewhat improved, I guess, pandemic wise. So yeah. So I feel like that's kind of where, and we can kind of be like, yeah, you are kind of like, obviously, I suppose you'll have to be diplomatic when you meet with them, but you can be like, yeah, there's kind of a gap on both sides of the pandemic situation now, and it'd be nice if you would change that. But also just thank you. Appreciate your hard work.
Yeah, I hear you, Eliana. Thank you so much. Theodore?
Yeah, in regards to like dining, yeah, I agree that there's a lot of factors involved. To me, I would like to just easily agree and assume like it is just a front with Phoebe. For me, it's quite perplexing how they have issues struggling with, or they have issues in hiring people, that they struggle to find people. I feel like UCLA is one of the best places to work. It's in a safe part of Los Angeles. I feel like there's a lot of hardworking people all around the county, especially like lower income households who would, appreciate a job at a safe institution such as UCLA. So I don't know who exactly they're marketing to, where they can't find students. And yeah, like I completely agree. Like we have to, even though we represent the student body, it's very it's very good and kind of us to also look out for those who serve the students. So essentially the dining staff. But for us to argue like, oh, we have to worry about the burden upon the staff, like that's not really like our problem. Like that's admin, or that is administration's problem. Like if they are touting that this is the #1 public university, if they are touting that, oh, we are accepting more people than ever, then they have to meet the needs of the students. And the #1 need to me is like food. And so, or one of the #1 needs. And so if they're continuing to build housing, but there isn't a continuation of building dining commons or even off-campus dining commons, like I don't know what the plans were when they constructed those off-campus apartments, but like I don't know, one would think that it would have been smart to maybe have an off-campus apartment associated like dining commons, like at that big behemoth off of Gailey and LeConte. And so it's stuff like that where, yes, we have to look out for the staff, but at the same time, like, I don't know what the university's doing. There should be staff, like there shouldn't be long lines. Students should get access to food quite easily. Like we're not, and especially like let's say if I speak on behalf of my constituency, like transfer students, predominantly a lot of them have been feeling like they don't get access to the Hill. They're pushed off campus, and so I know right away that if they expanded, or if you're to fight what you want to fight for in regards to expanding meals to even off-campus students, like transfer students will truly benefit from that. But like, I feel like it's not our fault that the university struggles in hiring people. Like it just doesn't make sense.
All right. Thank you, Theodore. All right, we're gonna do 2 more and then we'll push forward so we're not, here all night. Eliana?
Thanks. Just wanted to add, in addition to like improving the working conditions and probably paying more, supply and demand. If you can't get it, you need to pay more. That includes labor, although people don't always realize that. But also, I know there's a lot of hardworking foster youth on campus and other people, but definitely one of the communities that faces a lot of injustice, and a lot of them don't have jobs. So it'd be worth, you could tell the dying people to check in with like Geronimo Thomas, Bruin Guardian scholars, and see if they'd be interested in recruiting, because it's like, I'm not totally sure because of the job, but feel like people would like to have more jobs, and they should definitely, if they're out there not having enough student workers and there's students who don't have jobs, they should definitely try and like bring the two together in addition to just having good working conditions.
Thank you. Daniela?
Yeah, I guess just like in response to what Teddy just mentioned, I do just want to like bring up that even if it's not within our purview to like hire UCLA staff or to hold certain like steps of the process to follow through, it is our purpose as USAC to hold the administration accountable in doing so, which I totally agree with you on that. But I also just want us to consider that USAC doesn't operate in a vacuum, nor does anything that happens within UCLA's campus. I think we also need to consider that a lot of the dining hall workers that are employed at UCLA are folks who are marginalized and people who come greatly from BIPOC communities. And so to sanction a policy that, whether it's written by USAC or by Carl in this situation specifically, we need to consider those things as well, because it is ultimately on us to consider those unintended consequences and how they would affect those people. That's all I wanted to say.
Awesome, thank you. And thank you everyone for your feedback on that. Definitely will work with you guys. On that, it's obviously a complex issue. I think that we personally, I'll say this and I'll be done with it. I feel like we shouldn't operate within like the constraints that the university has put us in, right? So we shouldn't say that, well, the university is refusing to hire more people, so we should just like operate within that and not push for better services on campus. Because as you stated before, and you kind of mentioned how marginalized communities are being, the marginalized communities that work for the dining halls have been affected by this. Well, I think there's a lot of marginalized communities in regards to the transfer student population, which Theodore mentioned, that are being affected by not being able to, eat on campus. That are being affected having to, go off campus to eat. Obviously inflation has raised a lot of prices on campus. So we shouldn't operate within the constraints of the university when they're lacking on their part. All right. I'm not saying that we ignore those constraints, right? We take those into account, but we definitely shouldn't just, say, well, hey, we're just going to give up and not push for further services because, this is the way things are right now. So I'm just thinking ahead. I am, open to discussing this further with council members offline. But yeah, those are my initiatives, and yeah, so we'll be pushing forward. I see the IVP has a written report for this week. We'll be moving forward with external vice president.
Hello. I don't have too many updates, but this last week we met again with Karen. I'm sorry, give me a sec. So sorry, I'm having lung capacity issues the last 2 weeks. Please bear with me. I'll make this as fast as possible so you don't hear me hacking. Met with Karen and Ignite regarding their initiative for the rape kits or accessibility rape kits. Also met with the speaker, representative for Prop 1. Thank you all so much for the well wishes and everything. I really appreciate it. It's a struggle. I am working with Orlando, as I mentioned in the Slack, for the upcoming Regents meeting that's happening on Friday, and we'll talk about later. Carl mentioned it briefly, but my team is also working on a resolution that we have, I think, sent out to some people and will be on next council's agenda. There was no all staff meeting this week because it was Halloween. I hope everyone had a safe and memorable Halloween this year. But yeah, that's all for me.
Carl, you're muted. Oh.
I'm sorry. Moving forward, Gen Rep 3.
Thank you so much, Geronimo Thomas, who's awesome, and Rami who's head of HR from Associated Students UCLA, and me had a very good meeting. And we're planning on doing, Feel Better Divine, you're amazing. We're planning to do like job fairs for the foster youth community starting, I think, beginning of next quarter. So that was cool. Thank you, Geronimo and Rami, and thanks, Woodia, for setting everything up. Phoebe and I have a resolution about CAE and that they need to actually serve, not just like provide services, but have that respect and equality in the way they deal with disabled students. So that should be good. And I've also been setting up some meetings I'll be doing with like staffers for state legislators who represent UCLA. So yep. So yeah, that should be good. Let me know about anything you want me to bring up with them. And shout out to David Volkersley for his support on that. Yeah, that's it. Working on trying to develop some more nutrition programming. And shout out to Eliza Aiken, Carl's awesome chief of staff. Guys had a great meeting with her, and we're going to be working together on nutrition and other stuff. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Eliana. Community Service Commissioner.
Hi, y'all. So for the Community Service Commission, not too many updates. We have started to go through the applications for SFS funding. And also we're about to start reviewing applications for the Community Service Transportation Fund, which I believe are open to all campus organizations. And we've also have started planning the nonprofit networking night, which will be approaching soon. So we're going to be having a meeting this week regarding kind of like early ideas and how we might want to revamp it for this year. We've also began working on, or continued working on a collaborative project between CalPERG and CSC to support the LA Food Bank. So that's an ongoing project and meeting of ours. Yeah, I think that's what the most pressing stuff that we've been working on this week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juan. Financial Supports Commissioner.
Hi, everyone. The Financial Supports Office has a few updates. So a lot of it, my directors and I have been working on. We're trying to set up a meeting with the library to do New York Times things. We are in discussions with CAPS just about their budget and their funding to see if we have any wiggle room with them to just like increase support for student mental health. We also have a meeting on Monday with I am blanking on his name right now, but the very nice person Eliana brought to council meeting last week about like state legislature stuff. We have contacted Westwood businesses to try to get discounts, so we're just waiting for responses. And up and coming, I will send out, we're working on a graphic for it right now, but we have our first financial literacy workshop on how to invest, like investing 101. I think we're going to do it in the Black Bruin Community Center on the Hill, just to try to make it a little bit more accessible to people living here. But if you guys could promote, oh yeah, David, let's get him in the minutes, David Bucarsley. But also if you guys could promote that one so we have the graphic, that would be great. And then also last thing,
Did Sarah freeze or what? As always, when she's about to say something important.
Yeah.
We're trying to set up a meeting with the ASUC alumni cards and also. Oh wait, sorry, what, Carl?
You froze. You said in last thing and then you froze.
Oh my God, thank you. It's the Hill Wi-Fi. Maybe I'll work on the Hill Wi-Fi or just UCLA's Wi-Fi. But doing and making sure to decrease the price of Bruin cards, because we used to have a fee waiver, so I want to get that back. And then also I want
Sarah. Wow. It's crazy. As soon as she starts talking about the Wi-Fi, it goes bad. Sarah? Okay, we'll come back to Sarah. I think she's gonna probably get kicked out and then be brought back on. So we'll come back to her. Transfer student rep.
Evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Happy November. So we're one day closer to a break, a long 4-week break coming our way. Okay, yeah, what has been happening? Okay, so I was able to attend the ASUCLA welcome event this past week. I was able to talk to the CEO of ASUCLA. I brought to him where essentially initiative or advocacy what Phoebe and I are going to be working on as well in regards to the Sepulveda transit corridor. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Metro, even to those who live in LA. Public transit is that bad that people in LA don't even know about public transportation in LA. But essentially, long-term wise, because right, we're always thinking about the future, and so I'm thinking about like future transfer students. And so essentially, they're trying to get a transit line going from the San Fernando Valley to essentially stopping right on Wilshire, or like the Wilshire area. Most south, maybe Santa Monica Boulevard, but like basically in our neck of the woods. And so, which would even include a UCLA, there's like 6 options, but essentially 4 of the 6 are supported by many people who are in urban planning and in public transportation, which includes a UCLA stop. But then the other 3 of the 6 are totally are in favor of a different system, which is in favor of like Bel Air neighborhood association. So there's a lot of local political sentiments going on, and so a lot of the professionals and students are arguing for the one that actually has an underground subway, while the Bel Air is arguing for it's a monorail that goes over the 405, but basically Caltrans is already rejecting that. But the neighborhood association is really pushing for those options, and they're trying to get the backing of UCLA. And so where I'm coming from as a transfer rep is trying to protect like the future students who a lot of them actually transfer from the Valley. We do have a lot of students coming from the Valley, especially commuters. And so if it means connecting UCLA to the rest of Los Angeles through Metro, that's amazing, because that would include a UCLA stop that would connect to the D line that they're currently working on in Wilshire. So that's what I spoke to him about. His son is actually transferred from the Valley, so he said he's actually in favor of it too, and it just so happens. So that was good. But like hopefully, he pointed me in the right direction of a student who worked with the neighborhood association in the past. So I'm in the process of getting his contact. What else? Oh yeah. Also, I have a meeting this week on Wednesday with Phoebe, with Yanit Covenantor or Covenantor. They're the ADA 504 compliance officer, and so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about essentially ADA. A little bit what I was talking about last meeting. Also staff. Okay, so that's been a huge blessing. I've had a lot of people apply to staff positions, so which is cool. And essentially, I have every position filled up as of tonight, and I'm actually going to send the official emails out to the candidates tonight, and essentially get the paperwork starting. I have volunteers and paid staff, and I believe I have 12 individuals, and 9 of them are transfers. So that's a win. That's good. Also, I was shout out to, and like we really want to increase. Oh yeah. Okay, and shout out to Lori. Lori got the hookups today. With sorry, Lori. What's his name? With Mick. Mick DeLuca. Basically Mick DeLuca promised to get me, he says, I will work to secure a student block of tickets for the Arizona game on November 12th. These will be at no cost for you to promote as a transfer community event. So essentially we got free tickets for the transfer students for the November 12th game at the Rose Bowl. So that's pretty lit. So that's the last home game before the USC game. There's no way I'll get free tickets for the USC game. Everyone and their mom are gonna go to that game. So like $60 a ticket. So not a chance, but at least we'll have that for transfer students. And I met with Anna today as well, my sole advisor. And so she helped me with a lot of my projects in regards to like, where do I go from here? And essentially, I need to do a bit of polling. So I'll probably be spending a lot more time near Holly. And obviously online polling as well, but like in-person polling would be good at Holly and the transfer housing area, the transfer experience, of course. Other than that, it's pretty much my report. I think that's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Theodore. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no worries.
Not a lot going on. That's great. That's good. All right. Moving forward, we have Hanzika, the international student representative.
Hi. So this week I met with Jonathan, who's my advisor, and we're just kind of planning what we need to do ahead for the rest of the quarter and the coming year. We're working on our website. We don't have an office website that's really good yet. And the website's gonna have like this survival guide for all international students. It's got everything covered from health to transport, so everything you need in detail from a more like less technical perspective as compared to what Dashu has on their website. That's what we're putting out. So basically a survival guide, just working on the content through that, working with people in my office to get it on the website and designing the website. It's complicated, but it's fun. And besides that, I'm working with someone who's trying to make this app for international students. He's trying to like integrate all international students through this one app. It's an interesting idea. So we're just in like the ideation phase for that, just going over that. And besides that, I'm just going to get in touch with the SAC to get my office stuff paid. But yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much, Hanzika. Theodore, you got a question?
Well, I forgot to mention something.
Okay, yeah, just make it quick so we
can.
Real
quick. Okay, it's for like health and wellness for this great body of ours. If you didn't see in the chat, I am hosting a Friendsgiving dinner, and I think the student body could really benefit from us getting closer. And so I think this dinner, either on the 16th or the 17th, could be very beneficial to how we interact with one another and know each other personally. So I am hosting it at my frat house. Obviously, it's potluck. We got a foosball table, ping pong, pool table. We got TV, we got couches, we got a fire pit. So there's tons to do, tons to hang out. So I really recommend everyone to respond in the chat. And I don't know, like it's really good meeting you guys in person and really like, I don't know, knowing that you guys are not just a screen and like you guys are actually students like me or like each other. We're just on this grind. So let's do this grind together.
Thank you, Theodore. We'll make sure everybody responds to that. Thank you. All right, now get into the admin rep report. Orlando.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Just have a couple of updates. The first one is just a reminder, SOL is continuing offering workshops for the groups who still need to re-register. It's a reminder that groups who this year will be the first year that we require all groups who are re-registering to send one signatory to one of our workshops. And I want to be making a plug tomorrow. The Dean of Students, interim Dean of Students, Jasmine Rush, along with Agustin Corral from Title IX, will be presenting on Title IX and student group conduct policies. It's tomorrow night at 5 p.m. I'll drop a link in the chat for those of you who are interested in attending. I think this is an important workshop for a lot of groups. These types of discussions come up a lot amongst the groups. Title IX issues, what are the do's and don'ts of student group code of conduct, as well as other policies groups should be aware of. And secondly, as it's been stated already, by Divine, thank you. We will be working with, I'll be working with the EVP office as well as the External Vice President's office from GSA on meetings with the student region and the student region designate for this Friday. We haven't, I believe we've set a time for 9:30 for USAC, so I'm excited that you'll all be there. And then later on that afternoon, there will be a town hall that both will be presenting in Ackerman as well on the process on the application for the UC student region. I will also be blasting out some advertisement there as well. So hopefully some of you who are interested on that process will be able to come out. Lunch will be served. I was able to order some box lunches through ASUCLA Catering. Okay, that's all I have for now. Thank you. Oh, is it in person? Yes, the town hall will be in person. It will be in Ackerman Union 2408. I will send that advertisement out to everybody to confirm that. But yeah, it'll be at 12:30 on Friday. Yes, I am working with Divine. I believe she's been working with you in the Slack and getting those that are interested in attending the meeting as well as the town hall. So touch base with her, and I believe she's helping coordinate all that.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Orlando. Jessica.
Hi, everyone. I don't have any updates, but yeah, just wanted to say thank you to those of you who were able to make the entities meet and greet last week. It was a really great event, and it sounded like a lot of folks were interested in doing another one just to try to get even more participation, because it's a really great opportunity to kind of meet and network with, you know, the board members and also GSA folks as well as student media. So hopefully we'll be able to plan another one, but also just want to reiterate that y'all should feel welcome to connect with those folks anytime, not just at these kind of events. So if you need any connections, let me know. I'm happy to connect you. And the board, they're great folks to work with on different initiatives that you all have for campus and the student body. So yeah, if anybody is interested in further connecting, let me know. And we'll help get you in touch. Thanks.
Thank you. Is Dr. Steve Moran here? Or he's probably not. Okay, he's not here. Hey, our alumni rep, Steve, he just got his PhD officially, so we can call him doctor now, just so y'all know. Okay, Lori.
Not too much, Theodore. Happy to make the connection for you. Let me know if you need anything else. Also, as your offices are thinking about initiatives you have for this year, if any of it is fitness or wellness related, I'm happy to make connections within rec for self-defense classes, cooking classes in the teaching kitchen, like mindfulness, yoga, whatever you guys are working on, let me know. I'm happy to make connections through my department or anything in student affairs. And then Sarah, I did see your account come through for space for recreation. So your office has an account to request space. We're opening our event spaces for request for winter quarter on Monday. And then meeting rooms and dance studios will be opening December 1st. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Lori. Archie.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great night. Thank you again for such a great meeting, for all you future leaders within USAC and all of my fellow advisors. I don't have much to report tonight, but I do want to say that we are working steadily on Kirk Hall's office areas. So if any of you guys, I know we've reached out to several of you guys who had some major problems with safety concerns in regards to your offices. But if there's any other maintenance requests that you guys want for your office, so if you need like vacuuming, shampooing, or paint, or any type of repairs, please email me so I can put that work order request in, and we'll get that submitted for you guys. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Archie.
You're welcome.
Okay, we don't have any old business, but going straight
Oh,
into.
actually,
I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, Patty, I'm sorry. They don't got your name on here anymore. I'm sorry. Patty.
no problem. Sorry, I wanted to hop on tonight. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I had a couple announcements I wanted to make this evening. I know Jessica mentioned it last week, but the Senator Allen event is taking place tomorrow. We'll be having essentially a welcome reception, as well as, okay, I'll get to that too, as well as a movie screening of like a plastics documentary that'll be taking place at 5 p.m. in Broome Viewpoint Room in Ackerman A-level. In regards to reserving at Kirkhoff Art Gallery, it's kind of a twofold. You usually work closely with CAC, Cultural Affairs Commission, if you're looking to put art on the walls. If you're looking to make a reservation for an event in the space, you kind of work with both CAC and also our ASUCLA events team. So they can check its availability, and usually they work closely with CAC as well. So hopefully that answers that question. I also we're having another UCLA watch party this coming Saturday in Ackerman Union on the big TV wall. So if you're one place to watch the game and have some fun and free food and swag, come on out. I think it's a later game, 7:30, but it should be a nice time. We also are working in collaboration with the DashU Center to host a World Cup, is that right? The soccer, it's been a long day. World Cup event on both December 1st and the 13th, so keep an eye out on that. And I also wanted to share, outside of all the fun events coming up, we have a programmer who's starting on Monday, so that's exciting, new member of our team. But I wanted to share, something a little personal. I actually had an opportunity to join the UCLA health team. So I'm staying within the UCLA family, but unfortunately it's a little bittersweet because with that means I'm going to be leaving the ASUCLA family. But I wanted to come on the call today to let everyone know I'll be making my transition in November. So I'm here for another week and a half or so, and then I'll be transitioning over to UCLA Health to support their talent acquisition team. So I just want to thank you all so much. I know you are in amazing hands with Jessica and Archie and our whole student government services team, but I've just had such a pleasure working with you all. So I wanted to let you all know in Zoom person tonight. So thank you all for everything.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Patty. Definitely hate to see you go. So, we know you'll do great things. So thank you for everything that you've done.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay. So now we don't have any old business. So we'll be moving to new business, which will be headed by Eliana and Phoebe.
Thank you so much. So we're going to be starting with the student voice and the CAE resolution.
Yeah, sounds good. Did you want to read it, Eliana, or did you want me to read it?
Either way, I can read it. Could y'all give Phoebe and me screen sharing powers? Don't think I have that right now.
I think Megan can give you that. Megan, can you give them an opportunity to screen share?
So anyhow, while we're waiting, it's basically the issue is the Center for Accessible Education supposed to be. It exists because of the civil rights laws for disabled people that we have in this country, like Section 504, the Rehabilitation Act, the ADA, and its job is to be upholding our rights. And it often does not do that. Gets in disabled people's way, often does not provide accommodations that a lot of people need. And additionally, one of the principles in disability rights and in the rights of any community is, thank you, Megan, appreciate it. Thank you so much. So one of the principles in disability rights is that the community of disabled people who are the CAE is here to be making sure we have our rights and we have equality in education, we need to be involved in actually running stuff within the CAE, or it's kind of defeating its own purpose. So anyhow, thank you, Phoebe, for your work, and thanks, Daniela, Mylan, and Naomi. Here's the resolution. Whereas UCLA has a record of seeking feedback from disabled and allied students during the hiring process for top positions in the Center for Accessible Education, but then giving little weight to that feedback when deciding who to hire. Whereas organizations seeking to uphold the rights of people with disabilities must give tremendous weight to the viewpoints of the disabled population they exist to empower. For instance, federal law requires independent living centers. These are government-funded nonprofit organizations which exist to meet the access and advocacy needs of disabled people to meet the following conditions. The board of directors must be 51% or more persons with significant disabilities. The majority of decision makers in the organization must be persons with disabilities. They must operationalize consumer control policy. That means disabled people are in charge of the institutions and the resources and the services that we need in all facets of the organization and services provided. Whereas, as an organization whose purpose is to uphold disabled people's rights and meet our access needs, the CAE is obliged to give more weight to disabled students' viewpoints than it has in the past. Whereas some students with disabilities no longer feel comfortable in advocacy spaces for students with disabilities, including the UCLA Committee on Disability, because of repetitive mismanagement and disrespect against students with disabilities from the CAE. Whereas the most recent recruitment cycle for the newly hired CAE director only provided students 48 hours to provide feedback for the interview notes of the CAE director candidate, despite promises to heavily involve student feedback during hiring. Whereas choosing to hire the current CAE director also ignored student requests received during the short time frame to give feedback. Whereas CAE does not contain published transparent guidelines on criteria they examine before granting or denying accommodations to its students. Thus, students rely on CAE directors to create an accommodations framework that operates on fair, just policy serving students' interests. Whereas the CAE is currently hiring an associate director. Therefore, let it be resolved that USAC urges the CAE to hire only people who disable students trust to treat them fairly, justly, both for the associate director position, which is currently open, and for all future open positions. Thanks everyone for listening. Any questions? Also, Phoebe, if you want to go ahead. Thank you, Phoebe, appreciate it. And if you want to go ahead and say something, go ahead. Daniela?
Hey, y'all, thank you so much for the work that you did on this resolution and bringing it to all of council. I know that in the solutions you all articulated wanting to be involved in future decisions, but just more so like out of curiosity, was wondering, and if it's inappropriate for you all or like you don't feel like answering right now, you don't have to, but what's your stance on the current CAE director and that hiring, given that
I'll say that. I'll actually say this from what I saw was not like even though he's had some very good viewpoints, he also had some civil viewpoints, which I think were the sorts of things that do create barriers to disabled students. So yeah, it was definitely, there's always room for improvement, and I definitely would love to see him become someone who sets the CA on the right path, but I don't think hiring him was a great choice. And Phoebe, definitely go ahead too.
Yeah, just to speak on that briefly, from what I can tell, he wasn't the least favored choice. I think there's like 4 candidates. He was like maybe like second or third, like in between. I don't quote me on this just because like I don't remember very well. I'm not sure if like his stance on like hybrid accommodations was something that people agreed with. Maybe I'm tripping and I don't remember very well, but yeah, he's definitely not the top choice. I think the like main thing though is the fact that they had 2 days to like review feedback, and then after that like they hired him like within 2 days without even like commenting like, oh, thanks for like giving us the feedback. So it felt like they're just like putting in all of this effort for no reason, because like why would they like be called for feedback and that feedback not be listened to in the first place? And then one last thing, I guess, just because I wasn't able to speak on this earlier, yeah, like CAE just doesn't have like guidelines on like if you have this type of impairment, like then you'll get this accommodation. Like they emphasize heavily in the UCOD meetings that everything is a case by case basis. But if that means that CAE is really having all of this power and like it's hard for students to like refute like when they don't get accommodations, having that associate CAE director and a CAE director that students really trust. I mean, regardless if they had those guidelines, but like because they don't, it's really, really important.
Sarah.
Hi, Eliana, and or everyone, I guess. I like this resolution. I just would this is a suggestion. I think the after therefore let it be resolved should be a little bit more specific. Just because I 100% support it. I just think by providing like admin with specific like demands which with what the disabled community would like and how they'd like to like be involved would be a little bit better, because just like I mean specifically the wording of only hire people who disabled students trust to treat them justly is like I think a great starting point. I just think it needs to be a little bit more fleshed out in detail, or like give a specific amount of time in which like, or like how like they should send out a survey, or how many like weeks prior they should involve students before making a decision, something along those lines. I think just to not give admin a way to avoid addressing the actual problem.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Thank you, Sarah. Should we like edit it now? Yeah, week sounds good. Should we like go and edit this, start editing this right now, or should we like
yes
next week?
I don't know. I feel like we can come up with stuff on the fly right now, but also I know that everyone's had a long night, so I don't know. I feel like just like say something about like a week's worth of time of feedback, gathering at least like, ooh, is it like bad to be like at least like 10 to 15% of the students that currently receive accommodations, but that doesn't like encompass all students that like would have a disability that need an accommodation. And that's also like a very small percentage. So I don't know. Something,
I think ideally the feedback would like be sent out over CAE email to everyone who's either getting or has applied for accommodations. I mean, I don't know if that's even ideal, because there are still people who would not be represented, but I feel like that would be like a serious effort.
Okay, actually, for the sake of time, just because like this might end up being like a little bit longer of a conversation, feel free to just like put suggestions on the document of things that you'd like to see, and we can review it. Like put all of your suggestions by Friday, 5 p.m. and then we can review it next week. Yeah.
So you want
to can we table it? Yeah.
Just want to make a motion?
Yeah, can I I'll move to table the resolution. Oh my gosh, I can't say the whole name of the resolution. Sorry, Eliana, can you motion?
I move to table the resolution for like student voice and CAE hiring.
All right, I second.
Okay, Eliana motions, Phoebe seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, and we're missing one vote. I'm sorry. Okay, all abstaining, please raise your hand. That's a new hand, right, Eliana? You're abstaining?
Nah, sorry about that. I was voting yes to table it.
Okay, all right. Well, by a vote of 12-0, the motion passes. And the resolution for effective involvement of student feedback in the hiring of the Associate Center for Accessible Education Director is tabled for next week. Okay, moving forward, under new business, the last item we have is the collective sign-on to opportunity for all undocumented students hiring rights letter. Eliana.
Thank you so much. Just to give a bit of background, I mean, this is an issue that's been important to USAC and Graduate Student Association. And anyhow, I was over, they had like a teach-in today. I was over there, I talked to one of the leaders and asked what they would like, and they said, yeah, sign on collectively, like Alicia has been saying, to do this better, like as an organization. So here I can just share a screen if you want, and we can sign on. Like, it's not even a resolution, I think. It's literally like just we go through this and put in our organizational information if y'all are comfortable with that. Should I show you the letter first? And then we can take a vote on it. And then if you're comfortable, we can just put our information in.
Yeah, that should work.
Cool, thank you. So here, I can also read this if you want. Should I read it?
We got the link to it?
Let me drop the link off in this chat, yes.
Yeah, I think everyone can, because I think a lot of people are probably we're gonna have to like sign onto it like after this. So if we vote that way, I think everyone's going to kind of take a look at it after this meeting. So you don't have to read it.
Perfect. So should
Unless
we
someone really wants to, does he really want to hear it? Like read, or everyone can read it on their own. Theodore, you want to?
Like, are you giving us time to read it right now, or is it read on your
I mean,
phone?
it could be. I mean, it's just gonna be something that we kind of like vote on, and everyone's gonna like basically pledge to like go and sign their name on it, like right after this. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, either that or we could probably just sign on like as an organization, like one person could fill it out on behalf of us as an organization.
Got you. Yeah, we could do that. All right.
So should we just like vote on it now? Does anyone have questions or comments?
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you. Like personally, like my mom was once undocumented, and so for me, I think anytime advocating for undocumented students is one are times like I cherish. Like I grew up with tons of people who were undocumented, and I think any time to give them like a bit of a helping hand, like I think there's like a stigma where like, oh, if you help out undocumented people, like you're holding their hand, like you're feeding into the issue, but like you're not necessarily holding their hand, like you're giving a helping hand. And so I think this letter has good intent, and I really appreciate it. And I think this is for the better good of the community, for the student body, but relatively like it's for the greater good of this nation as well.
Really appreciate that, Teddy. Well said. Thank you very much.
All right. So first we need to make this an action item. Yeah, because it's not an action item. So I need somebody to motion and make it an action item, and then we'll motion to sign as USAC.
I move to make, do I have to say the full name?
Yeah, just say the whole name.
Okay. I don't have the agenda up. If someone else can do it.
I can do it, or I can look at my shared screen.
Oh, perfect. I move to make the opportunity for all campaign sign-on letter part of the, to make it an action item.
I second.
Okay, Sarah motions, Theodore seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, and by a vote of 13 to 0, the motion passes, and it is now action item. Can we put a star next to it? Okay, now we can motion to for a vote to sign on collectively.
I move for USAC to sign on collectively to the opportunity for all campaign sign-on letter.
I second.
Okay, Eliana motions, Sarah seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, and by a vote of 13 to 0, the motion passes. And we will be signing on to the opportunity for all undocumented students hiring rights letter. Okay. And with that, I see we got 2 hands up. Are these the voting hands, or are you guys got something to say?
Oh, did I say something?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to say thank you, everyone. Because IDS and USN it's very clear that we needed the support from all of council and each individual office within USAC. for our signatures. So thank you guys, because that is a support for the effort in the UC system. Thank you guys.
Sarah?
So just logistically, do we each fill this out, or like I can fill it out for all of us, or Carl, or
It's
like
each individual office.
each individual office? Okay, got it.
Yes, so you.
Awesome. Okay, if we have no more questions, concerns, or comments, I will be adjourning this meeting at 9:08 p.m. Thank you so much, everyone.
Good
I got-
night.
Devon
Yeah,
wants us to stay, right?
Yeah, you guys can stay on for good and welfare. I got some homework I need to finish.
Yeah, I think you do stop the YouTube live.